Sir, on examination, general examination, so child is conscious oriented. There is no cyanosis, no pallor, no clubbing, no lymphadenopathy, no pedal edema. Vital signs: heart rate is 130 per minute, blood pressure 90 by 60 millimeter of mercury, respiratory rate 25 per minute, with temperature is afebrile. Head to toe examination, the child is having alopecia with no other signs suggestive of syndromic anomalies.
Which are the syndromic anomalies you look for?
I looked for any change in the iris, and I had an iris examination to look for anerida, and I looked for any hypertrophy of the any limbs, and I checked to look for any hypertrophy, and I looked for any other syndromic anomalies like low set ears. These are the various.
Okay, go ahead.
And I also.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, on examination of the abdomen, inspection, child is right in supine position, examined on the right side. Abdomen is distended, not uniformly, involving more in the right.
It will be useful to say abdomen is asymmetrically distended, more on the right side. A description will be better. Go ahead.
Abdomen is asymmetrically distended, involving more in the right lumbar region, umbilical region, and right hypochondrial and right iliac, epigastric and hypogastric region. And right flank fullness is present. Umbilicus is everted and displaced downwards. There is a dilated veins seen in the upper part of the abdomen, where examination of external genitalia and the scrotum appears to be normal. No visible pulsations seen. On coming to palpation, there is a lump of size approximately 13 into 9 centimeter. Sorry, 13 into 9 centimeter with vertical extension of 9 centimeter, which extends from 4 centimeter from the zipisternum up to the midpoint of umbilicus and pubic symphysis. When horizontal diameter is 13 centimeter, extend from the right axillary line to left midclavicular line at the level of umbilicus. And the lump is not
crossing the midline.
Crossing the midline, yes, sir. And the lump is non-tender, not mobile. Margins are well defined, irregular. Surface is uneven, irregular. Consistency is firm, no pulsation felt. There is a dilated veins present in upper part of abdomen, which is flow oblitus from below upwards, and the injection site is present in the right lumbar region. Injection mark. And other organ examinations. Liver border is palpable just 2 centimeters below the right subcostal margin, which is not continuing with the mass. Spleen is not palpable, able to insinuate the fingers under the left costal margin. And external genitalia and scrotum normal, but testis palpable. No renal angle tenderness present. Examination of spine is normal. Overall, the limbs is 5 by 5 on both lower limbs. On percussion, there is a dullness over the swelling. So percussion over the swelling dullness, where the resonator is present with the rest of the abdomen. And there is no bruit here over the swelling, where bowel sounds here normally. Other system examinations are normal.
In palpation, did you see check is it retroperitoneal or it's peritoneal mass?
Sir, I checked it. It appears to be retroperitoneal, but since it's a huge mass, I am not able to differentiate between the retroperitoneal and intraperitoneal, sir, on palpation.
How would you have checked for it?
Sir, usually intraperitoneal mass will be mobile.
Okay.
And it will be mobile, and the retroperitoneal mass. And if it is present from the upper abdomen, it will move with respiration, sir.
Okay. Apart from that, when the child is put on prone position, the mass will not fall forward if it is a retroperitoneal mass. If it is a peritoneal mass, it will fall forward. However, as I rightly said, this is such a large mass that is stretching up to the anterior abdominal wall. That finding may not be relevant in this case.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, findings.
Okay.
Any free fluid in the abdomen?
Sir, again, I didn't check for shifting illness because it's a huge mass occupying the entire abdomen, so I'm not able to check the shifting illness.
Okay. Is there mobility with respiration?
Sir, again, that mass is not continuous with the liver as plane. Either upper border of the border
No,
of
no,
the
no. You are
Finding
Yes,
is a finding. He has.
you are assuming. You are assuming. So
yes, sir.
it could well be from the
There
liver.
is-
You don't know. Yeah.
There
Is
is
it
no
moving the respiration or not?
no, sir. It's not moving with the respiration.
Is there any independent mobility of the mass?
No, sir, it's
So,
not
for
mobile, sir.
example,
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir.
Again, you see, you just by saying that there's a mass which is in the right side does not mean that you cannot look for ascites. Okay, there are other features suggestive of ascites which could have been picked up. Tell me in this case, if there was ascites, how would it have manifested? Anybody else also can answer, not a problem. For example, the left flank might have been full, the umbilicus could have been transversely stretched, and you could have got it everted as if it is there, or it can even be transversely stretched. That apart, you can even find a dullness in the left flank if there is an ascites. Okay. Anyway, in this
Yes,
case,
yes,
there's
sir.
no ascites. Other thing
Yes,
for
sir.
digestive hydrocele is, ascites is if there is a patent process of vaginalis, you can even see a hydrocele. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
That apart, in the general examination, have you missed out anything else? Case of a neoplasm. So malignant one, the child has got chemotherapy, has got alopecia, side effects of
Yes, sir.
chemotherapy. Child has got a mass which is most likely
What are
neoplastic
the-
from your findings.
What are the
Yes.
pressure symptoms you have looked for?
Sir, I look for lower limbs to look for any edema present because of IVC compression. And
Okay.
I look and general examination, if there is renal artery compression, the child may have hypertension.
Did you examine the pulses in the lower limbs? Lower limb pulses, did you examine? Did you examine
No,
the
sir.
lower limbs grossly for neurological involvement?
That I examine, sir. The power is 5 by 5 in the lower limbs, sir, both sides, both limbs.
Okay. Sensation
You
is
can
not.
check for the pulsations and the sensations also. Okay,
Yes.
apart that apart, could the child have got any manifestation, either a paraneoplastic syndrome because you're thinking of neuroblastoma, or it could have any metastatic findings? Because neuroblastoma has got features, clinical features apart from mass, right? What are the other
Yes.
features by which a neuroblastoma can present?
Sir, it may present with opus clonus myoclonus syndrome, which is characterized by involuntary movements of head
Okay.
and dancing eyes. And if it is associated with multiple subcutaneous nodules, which is termed as blueberry muffin sign, and it may present with
Okay.
periorbital swelling, which is termed by recognize.
Yes.
And
Okay.
if it is a paraneoplastic syndrome, it may be vasoactive intestinal polypeptide, etc. The child will present the diarrhea.
Okay.
And
Reconi is not a paraneoplastic syndrome. Reconi
It
is
is
a deposit. It's a
metastasis. Yes,
metastasis.
sir.
Okay. That apart, you should always feel all the limbs for any evidence of fractures or any deposits or bony tenderness. Okay. It says that at least your clinical workup is fine. And along with the biopsy site, if you had seen for any bone marrow aspiration being done, most likely this must have been done in this case. You could have again buttressed
Yes.
about that. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you should always look for signs of neoplasm as well as paraneoplastic syndromes. Okay. And
Yes.
Did you make the child get up and walk and
Yes, sir.
observe
The
the
child
sights?
is yes, sir. The child is walking without any change with the gait. The gait is normal, sir, for the child.
There is no pes cavus,
No.
there is no foot drop, there is no weakening of the thigh muscles or anything like that. You don't have any indication of that.
No, sir. The child walks. A child stands without support, and his child walks.
Okay. And when the child gets up, there is no dribbling of urine or anything. You have seen that.
Not noticed, sir.
Okay.
you should notice, and even the anal tone you should notice. All right.
Yes, sir.
Because again, it can be, why sir is asking that?
If it is a intraspinal extension, there will be associated lower limb weakness and neurogenic
Yeah.
event will be there, sir.
Neurogenic evaluation of the lower limb is mandatory in all abdominal cases. Okay,
Yes, sir.
especially suspecting neuroblastoma. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So summarizing your findings. These
Yes,
findings,
sir.
tell me in one paragraph.
Yes, sir. Sir, 1 year, 10 month old male child with admitted with history of lung, which is incidence onset rapidly progressive for post 4 months, with the current size of 13 into 9 centimeter, which is occupied 3/4 of the abdomen, mostly involving the right side, which is firm in consistency, irregular surface, well-defined irregular margins, with no features of other organomegaly, no features of any distal
And
orbital
crossing the
involvement,
midline.
and
And crossing the midline. Crossing midline is very important. Okay.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. On crossing the midline, with no features of organomegaly, no features of distal organ involvement, and no features of spinal canal involvement.
And
With
in
the
a
probably
biopsy, then given chemotherapy.
yes, sir, they underwent a problem biopsy and completed 6 cycles of chemotherapy.
So what is your probability of diagnosis?
Sir, probability first my provisional diagnosis is a malignant mass arising from the retroperitoneum, probably neuroblastoma.
Okay.
Second, arising from second is malignant mass arising from either retroperitoneum or intraperitoneum, probably rhabdomyosarcoma.
Okay.
And the third one is malignant mass arising from retroperitoneum, probably germ cell.
Germ cell tumor. You don't want to even
Yes, sir.
consider any other diagnosis or other possibilities exist.
Sir, since the mass is not continuous with the liver, hepatoblastoma is ruled out, sir. And mass, since is crossing the
Tell me that.
midline, it may
Unlikely. I understand it is unlikely to be a hepatoblastoma, but is it
Yes.
possible that you can have some exophytic mass from the inferior surface of the liver and abutting here?
Yes, sir, possibility will be there.
Possibility is there, but again, things going against them are like you said, there is it's separate from the liver, and the
Yes, sir.
liver is you said is separately palpable and freely mobile, and this is not freely mobile. On.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
the
sir.
mass
Yes,
is
sir.
so grossly extending to the left iliac fossa, I mean to the left
Yes,
flank.
sir.
It is unlikely to
Yes,
be
sir.
liver mass. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kidney mass still a possibility or not possibility at all.
Sir, still there is
Huge Wilms tumor which is sort of infiltrated.
yes, sir. There is, if it is a very huge Wilms tumor, sometimes it will crosses the midline also by pushing the vessels laterally. But again, it is the less possibility since the mass is extending almost up to the left midclavicular line. The chance of Wilms tumor will be less, sir.
No, I don't agree. I think Wilms tumor should be considered as one of the important differential diagnosis.
It should have been second differential diagnosis.
I don't agree. I think it should have been without you being,
Yes, sir.
prejudiced by the fact that you have read the biopsy report, which you think you all have. So, I think going by the history of a biopsy and 6 doses of chemotherapy and a large tumor which is arising from the flank,
Yes.
definitely nephroblastoma will be one of the important things to consider. You have to consider.
Completely agree. And like Deepak said, it should have been the second diagnosis. First is neuroblastoma, second should have been Wilms tumor, and third only
Yes,
other.
sir.
All right.
I would have put
Yes.
nephroblastoma as first diagnosis.
Okay. But it's okay. But we will give you the benefit there. Now tell me what are the features in favor and against neuroblastoma. Then we'll discuss each one of the differential diagnosis and come back.
Sir, neuroblastoma favors the age group is common. Sir, 1 year 10 month old child, the age group is neuroblastoma, and it is a rapidly progressive tumor. Sir, hello.
So what in
It's a
your
rapid.
history that suggests that
Firstly,
it could be neuroblastoma more than other things? See, appearing in 1 year 10 month old child and rapidly growing mass is suggestive of malignant neoplasm.
Malignant.
Agree.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Of that, why do you say it is neuroblastoma?
Since it is the most common tumor, it is the most common tumor among it. And since there is a huge mass which are occurring in the 3/4 of the abdomen, I took it as a first differential diagnosis. Since it is the most
Other
common.
features also, no? Like why are you getting paralyzed? Lots of things which you discussed elsewhere, which you said is against Wilms tumor, can be in favor of neuroblastoma, right? Large, irregular,
Yes, sir.
retroperitoneal mass crossing the midline, irregular borders. Okay, so it is likely to be, and the commonest retroperitoneal mass in this age group is neuroblastoma.
It,
The fact that the
yes.
child has been biopsied and given chemotherapy is also likely to be a neuroblastoma. Okay. The points
Yes.
against neuroblastoma are
The points, there is no other point against neuroblastoma. There is no other extra, there is no other features of metastasis. There is no other features of malignancy, sir. There is, sorry, there is no other features suggest a paraneoplastic syndrome, which may be present in any neuroblastoma. There is no features of malignancy. Metastasis, that is the
okay. First possibility is
yes.
neuroblastoma because of the plus points you said. Minus points are not really minus that you cannot rule out neuroblastoma, but it's possible. All right.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
again, second differential diagnosis, or maybe like Ramchandra says, nephroblastoma. If you take
Yes, sir.
nephroblastoma, what are the things for and against? We discussed earlier, but I want you to summarize it once again.
Yes, sir. Since age is the second most common tumor, sir. Second most common tumor, and again, the feature suggests a malignant tumor. There's a large irregular surface and irregular borders occupying the right flank, and it is suggestive tumor, sir. And
Yeah, why don't you be succinct and tell these are the points for nephroblastoma, these are the points against nephroblastoma. 1, 2, 3, 4. Be clear and succinct.
sir, against nephroblastoma, since it is crossing
For
midline,
nephroblastoma. For nephroblastoma,
for nephroblastoma,
the location of the mass and the higher incidence Wilms tumor is one of the commonest tumors, so it is all possible. Okay. However,
yes,
points against are
point against her, it is a mass which extending crossing the midline,
okay.
and negative stuff. There is negative features of hematuria. There is no history of hypertension. No unexamined. There is no hypertension.
What percentage of patients will have hypertension and what percentage of patients with Wilms tumor will have hematuria?
So 1/3 of the patients will have hematuria, and
Around 25% of them will have.
15 to 20% will have hypertension.
I saw Jyoti coming and going off. Is Jyoti joined?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, yeah, please, you are free to ask questions now.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Place where the workup will be common between you and us.
Sure, sir.
Sir, Ramchandra sir, would you like to take further?
No, I'm okay.
Deepak?
No, sir. We'll
Okay.
continue.
So the points in favor of neuroblastoma is that one, retroperitoneal, large mass, pre-op chemotherapy, and crossing midline. And the similar thing, these are the things which are against Wilms tumor. For Wilms tumor, it's basically incidence and this the location. What are the other differential diagnoses that you had given? And can you analyze them?
Sir, other differential diagnosis third is the rhabdomyosarcoma, I had given, sir.
Okay.
So the history favors for rhabdomyosarcoma is it is the third most common extracranial solid tumor in the pediatric population.
Okay.
And since it's a rapidly progressive mass involving the entire abdomen, and
Okay.
and
Go ahead.
yes, and that's it, sir. And for against rhabdomyosarcoma, again the age group, even though it is common in the pediatric population, sometimes it mostly present in the 5 years, 6 years age group, sir. In 2 years it will be less. And
Okay. Other thing, what you said was teratoma. Could it be teratoma?
sir, it is a less chance, sir, because germ cell tumor, teratoma, germ cell tumor occupying this huge mass will be rare, sir. And it will be rare, and it will be sometimes it will be if it is a huge mass, it will be mostly a mature teratoma where the surface will be the smooth.
Okay. Jyoti, it is here that I would want you to take up and discuss about the differential diagnosis.
Yes, sir.
These are the cases which actually come to you initially and you work up. And what are the things which you look for when you're assessing a mass abdomen?
Yes. Yes, sir. Usually, mass abdomen, we keep a few diagnoses. One is neuroblastoma, Wilms tumor. Usually, I can see that he's written malignant mass arising from intraperitoneum. The common site of RMS is retroperitoneal RMS, not intraperitoneal. So, rhabdomyosarcoma, germ cell tumor. The others being hepatoblastoma and hepatocellular carcinoma. I'm just giving you broad differential diagnosis for an abdominal mass. Now, clinically, we can figure out the differences between neuroblastoma and Wilms tumor. When we look at the surface, if the surface is smooth, then it is possibly a Wilms. Am I audible, sir?
Very much.
Yes, you're audible. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Jyoti.
Yes, sir. So if the surface is smooth, it is usually a Wilms tumor. If the surface is nodular, it would go in favor of a diagnosis of neuroblastoma. If
Okay,
the
good.
borders are like very well defined and it usually takes the shape of the kidney, like roughly ovoid, then it is possibly a Wilms tumor. If it is going haphazard in all directions, you can't clearly figure out what what the borders are, then it is probably a neuroblastoma. So irregular borders, nodularity on the surface go in favor of a neuroblastoma. Smooth surface, well-defined borders go in favor of a Wilms tumor. Coming to germ cell tumor, it is usually a midline tumor. So only if a neuroblastoma is crossing the midline, then we are stuck. We don't know whether it is a abdominal germ cell tumor or neuroblastoma. But the thing is, we can never feel variable consistency in a neuroblastoma because even the calcifications are microcalcifications. Whereas for a germ cell tumor, it will be of variable consistency throughout the tumor. Then we would think of germ cell tumor. This is probably how clinically we would approach the possibility of Wilms tumor versus neuroblastoma versus germ cell tumor.
Excellent analysis. Thank you very much, Jyoti. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sir.
Okay, Sridhar,
Yes, sir.
proceed. How do you proceed? Ravneet, are you ready with the investigations?
Sir, Narasimha sir is having the investigation.
Okay.
Sir, initially I will do ultrasonography to look for the nature of the mass from the site of origin and size of the mass and the nature of the mass, whether associated with the calcification or not, and the vascularity of the mass, or any area of necrosis, or any adjacent structures involvement. I will do ultrasonography to look for these things.
Narasimha, answer only to the point that is asked. You can ask Narasimha what are the ultrasound findings he wanted, and he will tell you. Okay, he is going to read out. Narasimha, read out the report.
It's
Narasimha, you can read it, no problem. Narasimha, even if you don't screen share, it's all right. Read the report. Anyway, from whatever I read briefly before it went off air, it showed a large hyperechoic mass, and both the kidneys are separate but are displaced by the mass. Narasimha, anything?
Sir, shall I read, sir?
Yeah, please, Ravneet.
Sir, the ultrasound shows a large heteroechoic solid mass lesion noted in the abdominopelvic region, showing a few cystic areas with measurement approximately 10 cross 15 centimeter. Bilateral kidneys are seen separately from the lesion, which are displacing the same. Posteriorly, the lesion abuts the aorta and IVC, and bowel loops are displaced and query encasing the mass. Pancreas are not seen, and bladder is minimally distended.
Okay, Sridhar, does it answer all the questions that you asked for, or do you want more than that?
yes, sir. It's yes, sir. It's fine, sir.
If they have known about the
Yes,
liver,
sir.
they have not mentioned anything. Now I'm saying I'm putting the discussion. Because the mass says it is lesion
Yes, sir.
abruptly stops at the aorta and IVC. It is not encasing the aorta or IVC, but is encasing the bowel. So could it have been a
Yes, sir.
lymphoma?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Could it have been a lymphoma? And no calcification of the mass.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying, and it is not encasing the IVC or aorta. It is encasing the bowel. Could it be
Yes, sir.
lymphoma?
Yes, sir. There is a possibility of lymphoma also. But there is yes, sir. There is a possibility of lymphoma based on this ultrasound.
So what would you do next? Jyoti, would you like to say what are the pros and cons of a lymphoma in this case now? In this case?
So, I'm sorry, I was not there when he presented the case. Can I know the age and the gender of the child?
You see, this is a
Sir,
one year,
madam.
10-month-old male child.
10 month.
Yes.
So
1 year,
lymphomas, usually we do not make a
Sir,
diagnosis of
the last 4
lymphoma.
months has been
Huh.
biopsied.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm just putting a spin with the ultrasound said.
Yes, sir.
No, what I'm saying is this is a 1 year, 10-month-old child with a 4-month history of a mass. The child has
Yes,
undergone a needle biopsy, following which chemotherapy has been given. Child has got
Okay.
alopecia. Now the mass is large, retroperitoneal. All along we thought it could be neuroblastoma. Ultrasound has been done. Ultrasound, there's no calcification. Both kidneys are separate. Mass is
Okay.
not encasing the aorta or the IVC, but is said to be
Okay.
query encasing the bowel. So what I'm
Okay.
asking is, could it be a
Yes,
lymphoma?
yes, it could be a lymphoma, but there are certain points against the diagnosis of lymphoma. First, age. Usually, if a child is less than 5 years of age, we do not make a diagnosis of lymphoma upfront. Second,
Okay.
history for 4 months. Abdominal lymphoma, we are thinking of Burkitt lymphoma. Usually, the history doesn't extend beyond 2 weeks. It is the tumor with the highest proliferative rate. We say its key index is almost 99.99%. So 4 months history, age not going in favor of lymphoma. But yes, because it is close to the bowel loops, or we are thinking it is encasing the bowel loops, we should be considering lymphoma. But these are the 2 points which go against a diagnosis of lymphoma.
In addition, Jyoti, this mass is too large. It's too large for a lymphoma, especially Burkitt's.
Okay, it is 10 into 15. Yes, sir. It is enormous. It's huge. Yes, sir.
Because
And
if
that too
this
for
size
the
mass, it
Yeah.
would have caused it would have presented more with an
exactly
obstruction.
exactly. It is like a 1-year-old child with a 15 centimeter mass. Definitely, it doesn't occupy the whole abdomen like this. Not typical of lymphoma.
Okay. Sridhar, thank you very much. I mean, your input has been really good, Jyoti. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sridhar, what next?
Yes, sir. Sir, here in the same ultrasound, I want to look for the liver and to look for the free fluids if present or not free fluid.
There's no free fluid and liver is normal. Okay, next.
Yes, sir. Next, I will, based on this ultrasonography, I ruled out the mass arising from the kidneys. So I ruled out the nephroblastoma since the bilateral kidneys are separate from the lesion. And
You don't
so
see a
my
nephroblastoma because again it can be extrarenal limbs, right? So just
Sir,
say that
that
you
is-
ruled out a renal mass. That's all.
yes, I ruled out renal mass, sir.
Okay.
So next, I will ask for CECT.
Okay. Is there any role for X-ray abdomen here?
Sir, X-ray abdomen, we can get it and to look for the spine. If any vertebral defects or any scoliosis, to look for the spine, we can. So to look for the vertebra, we can get an X-ray, sir.
Again, see, the role of X-rays is basically look for any stippled calcification in neuroblastoma. You'll see a mass effect. A mass effect.
Yes, sir. But
It is not.
yes, sir.
It is more for academic discussion that we are doing. Practically, I don't think we'll be looking too much into an X-ray here in this case. We would rather go ahead with a CT scan, like you said. When you say
Yes, sir.
ECT, what sort of contrast do you want? You want oral contrast or IV contrast or both?
Here, since there is no, I will ask for only IV contrast, sir.
Because there is a possibility of a bowel lesion also, no? Would you like to have oral contrast also?
Yes, sir, but the child doesn't show any symptoms of vomiting or constipation behavior. So the chance of the bowel involvement is will be less.
I would agree with you. First, I would put an IV
Yes, sir.
contrast and see, and
Yes, sir.
oral contrast only if needed. Okay, go
Yes,
ahead. Ravneet or Narsimha?
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, please.
CECT abdomen, I don't have the image, just the report is there.
Okay.
It's a large heterogeneously enhancing lesion noted in the abdominal cavity, extending superiorly from the level of renal hilum, inferiorly extending up to the level of midpoint of L5, anteriorly and laterally abutting the abdominal wall with loss of planes, posterior laterally abutting the ascending colon and loss of plane, left posterior laterally abutting the descending colon with loss of plane, posteriorly abutting bilateral kidneys, aorta, common iliac vessels with loss of plane, superiorly displaced bowel loops and inferiorly abutting the sigmoid colon. There are few hyperechoic foci noted in the lesion. Bilateral kidneys, adrenals, liver, spleen, pancreas normal.
Okay. Sridhar, where are we now?
Sir, based on the CCT finding, I am able to conclude that it's a malignant mass with arising from the rectum, probably a neuroblastoma, or there is a chance of rhabdomyosarcoma. Since there is invasiveness is present,
See, now that
which is
come again.
yes, sir.
Tell me, complete. I'm sorry.
But here the lesion is affecting. Also, it is there is a loss of fat planes between the abdominal wall, anterior abdominal wall, and the mass. So probably it is the probably the mass. I thought it is arising from the intraperitoneum, which is infiltrating the anterior abdominal wall. So probably the abdominal sarcoma.
No, I'm putting it in a different way. Can it be a desmoid tumor or a fibrosarcoma?
Sir, desmoid tumor fibrosarcoma mostly will be
Going posterior abutting everything.
but it won't arise from the retroperitoneum coming up. It is the abdominal wall tumor where the swelling will be obviously palpable on examination, sir. And here the swelling is not palpable obviously, and it is not mobile also. In desmoid tumor it will be mobile since it is occupying only the abdominal wall.
No, desmoid tumor is not mobile. I don't think so. Ramchandra sir, is desmoid tumor mobile?
No. This is not a desmoid tumor.
I know
This could still be a.
Yes, sir, please go ahead, sir. Ramchandra sir.
This could still be a neuroblastoma or maybe a different type of primitive neuroectodermal tumor. PNET is also possible. Then rhabdomyosarcoma is also possible. Still could be a neuroblastoma. Neuroblastoma or PNET. These are two possibilities.
Yes, sir. Sugar, what I'm trying to say is this CT scan findings are not typical of neuroblastoma.
Yes,
okay. So actually, Google and it opens up much more possibilities.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Confuse you, but rhabdomyosarcoma, neuroblastoma is possible, and other things also have to be thought. Shruti, what would you suggest about this case right now?
Yes, sir. I think it still can be neuroblastoma.
Yes.
RMS usually it says the lesion is at the level of the hilum. It is predominantly occupying the abdominal cavity. It is not looking like a mass arising from the retroperitoneum. So I would think RMS is less likely. It is definitely not Wilms tumor because the kidneys are free. The other thing was peanut bar Ewing sarcoma. Usually it arises from the pelvis. Extraosseous Ewing sarcoma is a known entity, but the common site is of pelvic origin. It will not be like, extending between the renal hilum and up to L5. It will be more sacral or pelvic mass. So I think the most likely possibility is still neuroblastoma.
How about malignant germ cell tumor?
Firstly, sir, this is we think of malignant GCTs if the tumor is central in location. There are, I mean, at least the CT is not showing anything suggestive of a varied heterogeneity, meaning, it will have some foci of calcification, a little bit of fat, a little bit of muscle. So that varied heterogeneous picture is not very clear on the CCT abdomen. So it only says few hyperechoic foci noted in the lesion. It will be of variable it will be a heterogeneous lesion basically.
Okay.
Okay, Sridhar, again I will say what
Yes, sir.
Ramchandra sir said. It is still like it's neuroblastoma, no doubt, but it's not very typical of it. CT scan has
Yes.
actually not given you a perfect diagnosis of a neuroblastoma. It actually opens out other possibilities. What would you do
Yes.
next?
Sir, I will go for ultrasound guided FNSC or ultrasound guided true cut biopsy of the tumor to look for the histopathology. Sir.
Would you like FNAC or a true cut biopsy?
Sir, here I will go for true cut biopsy.
Why do you prefer true cut over FNAC in this case?
Sir, since
Tumor.
true cut biopsy will get the tissue where the simultaneous
Hang on, Sridhar.
Yes,
Hang
sir.
on, Sridhar. Have you done any more workup for this patient? Why you jump to this thing? Do you know the this thing? See, this is the problem with you people who are so overloaded with the information that you don't think logically. What is your intent in approaching this patient? What is your intent? Do you want to cure this patient or do you want to just diagnose this patient? What is your intent?
Sir,
Have you done the metastatic workup for this patient? Have you done the metastatic workup? The initial metastatic workup. I'm not telling you need the complete metastatic workup, but have you done the initial metastatic workup for this patient? What is the initial metastatic workup for any intra-abdominal, most likely malignant tumor?
Sir, we need to get a chest X-ray to look for
Yeah.
chest X-ray and
What is the blood picture showing? How is the blood picture? Blood picture is normal?
Blood picture?
Sir, tumor markers have been done.
No, blood picture.
blood
Yes, sir.
Don't jump the gun.
Okay, sorry. Sir, LFT is normal. HB is.
Peripheral
Sir.
smear.
Peripheral smear, sir, I don't have the report.
CBC is okay.
Sir, CBC is okay. Then in biochemistry, urea creat, serum electrolytes are normal. Calcium is 9.9. LFT is normal, sir.
Okay. What about the chest X-ray or the chest CT? Have they done a CT?
So if I can
Yes, ma'am.
if I can intervene, just an important point, like when sir said basic workup, that's a very important point. We always have to look at a hemogram because in the pediatric age group, 90% of our tumors, abdominal tumors, are going to be small blue round cell tumors. And most small blue round cell tumors have a propensity to invade the bone marrow. If there is bone marrow involvement of a small blue round cell tumor, then our peripheral blood will show something called a leukoerythroblastic picture. There will be lot of cells, lot of immature cells flooding the peripheral blood. So if you always find a leukoerythroblastic picture on your hemogram, it goes in favor of a small round cell tumor which has possibly invaded the bone marrow. This is one thing we should keep in mind, the importance of hemogram in assessment of a solid tumor of the abdomen.
yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have one. Sir. Sorry to interrupt, sir. We have one CCT thorax also done for this baby, which is normal, sir. No lung mets.
Okay. So, Sridhar, can you answer what Ramchandra sir was trying to ask you? What will be the basic
Yes. I will go for a basic metastatic work. Basic workup. I will look for the complete outcome at peripheral smears and liver function test, renal function test, and I will look for alpha fetoprotein levels, and I will do chest X-ray.
No, metastatic workup is metastatic work. Complete.
Yes, I look for chest X-ray to look for any nodules, and the ultrasound abdomen again to look for the liver as free fluids. And
Okay, Jyoti, can you please complete what is the initial metastatic workup that you do in KIPVI that we should?
Yes, sir. So metastatic workup is going to be different for different tumors.
Okay.
So first, I mean, this would have been our approach. First, we do general investigations, which include like hemogram, biochemistry, and serology. Next, we would do focused local imaging to figure out where the tumor is coming from, what the consistency is, and what it is likely to be. Having known this, we do local imaging. Then we go, based on what we get in the local imaging, we will do the local histology assessment. If it turns out to be a small blue round cell tumor, then we are looking at possibly neuroblastoma or an RMS. It is not GCT, it is not Wilms tumor. So then, what are the common metastatic sites of a neuroblastoma? We are going to work up in that order. So we first have to figure out what the local histology is. Based on the local histology, because different tumors metastasize to different sites. So depending on what the local histology is, we are going to decide on what metastatic workup we are going to choose. For example, if it is neuroblastoma, we are looking at skeletal survey, we are looking at bone marrow, we are looking at the liver, which are the common sites of metastasis of neuroblastoma.
Okay, I would proactively ask you one more question about what is the utility of bone survey and bone scans in metastatic workup routinely?
This is a very, it is a debatable question, sir. In
Okay.
centers where PET scan is not available,
Okay.
let me divide it into two scenarios. One, we have a PET scan available. One, we don't have a PET scan available. Assume we do not have a PET scan available. Then we would do multiple workup. Like we will do bone scan, we will do bone marrow assessment, we will do an ultrasound of the liver, and CCT of abdomen will anyway cover the liver. If we have a PET scan, we will directly go for PET scan because it will pick up bone marrow involvement, it will pick up bone involvement, it will pick up liver involvement, it will pick up involvement of any part of the body. So if PET scan is available, only single investigation. If PET scan is not even available, then multiple investigation for different sites.
Thank you very much, Jyoti. Again, Sridhar, coming back to what
Yes, sir.
Ramchandra was trying to tell. For example, if you're going to go to a true cut biopsy, you're making an invasive procedure, and actually you're trying for a needle track extension, etc. That's what sir was saying. Instead of focusing excessively on just the diagnosis, you should see the child as a whole picture. Okay, so before trying to do any invasive procedure or which is likely to affect the baby, you think you should do something more. So what are the other things will you do?
Sir, as the other things to general investigation and metastatic workup, and for FNAC for fine needle aspiration cytology.
More than that, I think earlier Ravneet was trying to tell you that. Can't you do tumor markers?
Yes, sir. Tumor markers, I will do alpha fetoprotein levels and HCG levels.
In this case, unlikely, no?
No. Yes, sir.
In this case, it's unlikely, no? So what I'm saying is,
Yes,
what are the possibilities you're now thinking coned into?
It may be neuroblastoma or rhabdomyosarcoma or neuroectodermal tumors may be the possibility, sir. So,
Okay, so your endodermal germ cell tumor is ruled out. So no question of AFP beta HCG. So what else will you look
yes,
for?
sir.
What are the other tumor markers? I think we had 3 days back, no? Discussion on that.
Yes, sir. I will look for the ferritin levels, sir. So, and
Simpler. What is more easily available?
More diagnostic.
sir,
Ferritin is non-specific.
yes, sir. The urinary human urinary VMA levels,
Okay.
and to look for many excretory metabolites and
For urinary VMA, HbA and VMA, HbA ratio.
yes, sir.
And you can send for serum ferritin, maybe LDH.
Yes.
Ramchandra sir, you were trying to actually convey something. I think we interrupted you and we got the discussion off.
No, that is fine. That's fine. That's fine.
You're trying to
basically,
convey.
when a candidate of his stature and maturity presents a case,
Yes, sir.
we expect the logical flow of thought. That is,
Yes.
what is your intent in approaching this patient? How you want to treat this patient,
Okay.
like a real doctor.
Okay.
Not like a student approaching an examination. Just as a real doctor, what are you going to do in real life? So that is how you must present, and that impresses the examiners most. That's what I have found.
In this case, would you prefer FNAC or a true cut? Because they said that she's going to have local tissue diagnosis,
Yes.
metastatic workup. So what sort of investigation for histology would you like to do? FNAC or true cut?
Sir, here I will go for true cut biopsy, sir.
No, now tell me the pros and cons of both. Because in true cut, again, you are likely to, what do you call it?
Yes, sir.
What are the pros and cons of in this case?
In this case, advantage of advantage of the true-cut biopsy is that it is along with the histopathology, it also gives the histochemistry level, which if the cell is undifferentiated, it will give immunohistochemistry finding also. That will improve the diagnosis, sir. The disadvantage is that if if you convert the tumor into there will be a tumor will be spread through the needle seedings. That will upstage the tumor. That is the consequence of the true-cut
Do you
biopsy.
think it's going to upstage the tumor? What stage is the tumor already?
Yes, sir, it's already upstaged because of the infiltration. So
It's already
that
stage
is
3. So in this case, there is no question of upstaging the tumor. It's only about
Yes,
needle
sir.
tract tumor,
Needle-
needle tract infiltration you are worried about. Okay.
Yes, sir.
See, the advantages of FNAC is that one, it is going to be less invasive, can be done as a simple procedure outpatient. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But the disadvantage is that like what you're saying, you can only sell about a small round cell tumor, but you may not
Yes,
be able to tell you more. Immunohistochemistry may or may not be possible, enemic amplification, etc., may not be possible. Whereas if you
Yes,
do a true-cut biopsy, all these things are possible, and
Yes, sir.
you'll be able to quickly get into the diagnosis. Disadvantages.
Yes, sir.
In this case, do you think a FNAC has been done or a true-cut has been done? You saw a scar, no? You said.
No, I didn't. I saw the needle mark only. Investigation with sir.
Okay, no. You
I
said
saw. Yes,
clinical
sir.
finding that you saw a needle mark.
Yes, sir.
So, any idea whether it's true-cut or no idea?
No idea, sir.
Most likely true-cut, because otherwise by this time, after 4 to 6 weeks, it should have closed off. It would have just
Yes, sir.
Jyoti,
Yes, sir. Yes,
please
sir.
take the discussion next about FNAC versus true-cut in this case.
Yes, sir. FNAC does help. First of all, it gives you the basic histology. You will know whether it's small round cell tumor or not. You may be able to see a little Schwannian stoma. You can do IHC over an FNAC sample. Whatever sample we have aspirated for FNAC, we can do IHC. We can still get a diagnosis of neuroblastoma. But for further management, just a diagnosis of neuroblastoma is not sufficient. The most important in management is to know what type of histology, whether it is well differentiating, poorly differentiating, or undifferentiated. For that, we definitely need a true cut biopsy. Therefore, FNAC is not going to help us at all with further management. We always need a true cut biopsy. And mostly for endemic amplification, which is usually fish based, tissue biopsy is better.
Yes.
Thank you, Jyoti. So,
Yes,
true-cut was done, and what does it say, Ravni? Or Narsimha?
I'll just tell you the FNAC report. First FNAC was done, which was showing just small round cell tumor. Then second FNAC was done, which shows tumor cells positive for desmin and negative for LCA, MYC2, synaptophysin, and chromogranin. And WT1 non-specific staining. After that, IHC has been done. IHC is showing positive for desmin, MyoD1, CD56, negative for CD99, WT1, CD45. Ki67 was 60%, and they went in favor of rhabdomyosarcoma embryonal type.
See there.
Yes, sir.
So, see how it whole diagnosis goes swayed to and fro. Okay, Jyoti, would you like to elaborate on this? Because IH is completely Greek and Latin to me.
Sir, basically for rhabdomyosarcoma, desmin and myogenin will tell us what sort of tumor it is. If desmin, myogenin or myo-D are positive, it goes in favor of the rhabdomyosarcoma. Ki67 index tells how rapidly it is proliferating.
Okay.
Usually, very rapidly proliferating tumors are the small round cell tumors. Their Ki67 index will be greater than 90%.
Okay.
These UV sarcoma, rhabdomyosarcoma will have slightly less Ki67, which will be anywhere between 60 to 90.
Okay.
Sir, frankly, this is the second case. I mean, I have not seen this child, but this is the second case of intraperitoneal RMS that I have known. As a PG for 3 years, there was only one child with an intraperitoneal RMS. But something very striking is the whole abdomen will look like a ball when it is intraperitoneal RMS. Probably this child also has that typical football in the abdomen clinical appearance.
Yes. And just for my information, the CD99, WT1 is all ruling out Wilms tumor and other
Okay,
things, right?
I will tell, sir. CD99 is usually for a PNET, Ewing sarcoma. WT1 is for Wilms tumor.
Okay.
CD45 is leukocyte common antigen to rule out lymphoma.
Okay. Excellent. They've also done HP. I saw that.
For neuroblastoma, they would have done chromogranin and synaptophysin, synaptobrevin. I think they have not suspected neuroblastoma, or probably the question of other tumor has risen up. That's why they've not put in markers for neuroblastoma. They've used markers for RMS, which is Desmin and myopathy, CD99 for PNET, WT1 for Wilms tumor, and for CD45 for lymphoma.
Excellent.
Ma'am, we have one FNAC report which shows that it is negative for synaptophysin and chromogranin.
Okay, so I think that's why that doesn't.
That rules out
because
neuroblastoma.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Excellent. And I see something as HP there, one of the slides, the previous slide.
So this one, histopathology report was showing cellular smears, so many clusters and scattered population of 80 particles.
Doctor, can I ask you if you could name some, what is a small to round
So
cell?
after HP,
Madam, small round cell tumor is what is what are the small round cell tumor? It is one is the Wilms tumor, neuroblastomas.
No, Wilms
And,
tumor is, sorry, I'm sorry. Wilms tumor is not a small round cell tumor. Maybe at DM level, someone can say that, blastomal variety of Wilms tumor can be a small round cell tumor, but typically Wilms tumor is not a small round cell tumor. That should be out of your differential diagnosis. So what are the small round cell tumors?
Neuroblastoma,
Yes,
rhabdomyosarcoma,
yes.
neuroendocrine
right?
tumors,
Neuroendocrine
and,
alla, neuroectodermal tumor.
neuroectodermal, sorry, ma'am.
Yes.
Neuroectodermal tumor, Ewing sarcoma,
Okay.
Merkel cell carcinoma.
No. Don't think of rare things. When you're giving a differential diagnosis, common diagnosis first.
other
Yes,
one.
correct. Other one.
You said neuroblastoma, you said Ewing's bar PNET, you said rhabdomyosarcoma. One more. We were thinking of that initially in the at the start of presentation.
We had a lot of
Even
discussion grilling about it.
it was
Yep.
query invading the bowel loops,
Lymphomas, ma'am.
lymphoma.
Yes, ma'am.
These are the
Common
small.
round cell tumors. These are common round cell tumors that you should know. All right.
Okay, if I can just interrupt, sir.
Yes, please. Okay, yes.
Out of the two varieties of rhabdomyosarcoma, which is more likely to be a small round cell tumor, Dr. Sridhar, embryonal variant or alveolar?
Alveolar variant will be the round cell tumor.
That's right. Embryonal less likely, it has spindle-shaped cells, and more likely that alveolar will present like a small round cell tumor.
Round.
Please go on.
Yes, ma'am.
So what next? What workup for further the treatment that you're going to handle here? I think Jyoti, you'll have to take over from here.
From here, it will be staging, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So
I mean, you can ask questions and whatever you ask, it's fine. Otherwise, you can add. You can lead the discussion from henceforth.
yeah, Dr. Sridhar, like
Yes,
now
ma'am.
that you know it is a rhabdomyosarcoma, what are the common
Yes,
sites of
yes.
metastasis of RMS, and what are the sites you would want to image for metastatic workup?
Madam, common site. So common site of metastasis is lungs, bone,
Okay.
and
Usually it is
bones,
distant lymph node, distant muscle.
distant lymph nodes. Yes, ma'am. Distant lymph node and muscles.
Any small round cell tumor will go to bone and bone marrow. So even that is something we will have to look at.
Yes. So for investigation, for a bone involvement, I will do bone scan to look for metastasis. And for the lung involvement, I will do CT chest HRCT test.
HRCT.
High
For
replacement.
screening for metastasis, we do not do HRCT. Just if CT test is sufficient.
Okay. And for environment of the bone marrow to look for, we'll do bone marrow biopsy to look for the metastasis.
Bone marrow biopsy, usually it is bilateral, both bilateral bone marrow biopsy. You do PS, posterior superior iliac spine of the right and the left, small blue round cell. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And maybe about need for translocation analysis, Dr. Pooja can throw some light on that.
Yeah.
Dr. Pooja?
Yeah.
I think she made a brief visit and left. We'll
Okay.
continue.
So I think maybe, would you want to discuss beyond this, sir, beyond staging? Because it
No, you can tell them the broad principles and we can go metastatic workup and by and large and essential chemotherapy if they need.
Okay, I think for in the surgical perspective, after staging, we will we will have to risk group it. Basically, the purpose of staging would be to risk stratify this patient. Any idea what the risk group would be for this child?
This risk will be stage 3 group. The child will be stage 3 group. Since
Okay,
it is the truncal involvement and there
Yes,
is a
doctor.
infiltration, and since there is a truncal involvement and infiltrations is also present, it will be and the size is greater than 5 centimeter, so it will come under the stage 3 group.
Okay. So it is stage
Yes, ma'am.
it is stage 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Presuming that metastatic workup is
Yes.
clear of disease, we
Yes,
will keep it stage 3. Then embryonal variety stage 3 is usually intermediate risk. We
Yes.
assume we give chemotherapy.
yes.
See, there are certain surgery wise, it is like for any other abdominal tumor. There are a couple of things which are peculiar to RMS in terms of surgical procedures. One is we should know indications for retroperitoneal lymph node dissection in a child with rhabdomyosarcoma. Any idea when retroperitoneal lymph node dissection is indicated?
Sridhar, if you don't know, tell you don't know.
Don't know, ma'am.
Usually, it is not indicated for an abdominal mass. It is for testicular, paratesticular RMS and extremity RMS, which usually metastasize to the retroperitoneal lymph nodes. RPLND in rhabdomyosarcoma is a very, very commonly asked question for us, and I presume it will be asked for you as well.
Yes.
I think that's one peculiar situation in terms of surgical management.
And what is going to be the prognosis and response to chemotherapy, Jyoti?
Sir, intermediate risk survival rates will be around 70%.
Okay. Will only chemotherapy sufficient or something more need to be added?
Okay. See, for RMS, the rule is all patients require chemotherapy. Some patients require radiation therapy and very few will require surgery provided the tumor completely disappears. A tumor of such a large extension is unlikely to disappear with just chemotherapy, and in this case I think it will certainly require surgery.
Okay.
Basically the principle of management is all require chemotherapy, some require radiation therapy, very few will require surgery.
I completely agree. And what I'm saying is, what about the long-term follow-up for this child? For example, if you give chemotherapy, generally what we see is with rhabdomyosarcoma, the moment you start chemotherapy, it sort of melts. But again,
Yes,
it is
sir.
difficult to completely get rid of it.
Yes,
And again, once it comes to surgery, most of the times we find rhabdomyosarcoma, unless it is completely confined and excisable, it's really
Yes.
troublesome, very troublesome.
Yes, sir. In such a scenario, like usually there are certain defined protocols. Like for intermediate risk, you have to give a certain number of cycles of chemotherapy before they proceed for local control.
Okay.
The child has not responded in those many cycles of chemotherapy, and so it is not amenable for surgery at the stipulated time point. By giving more chemotherapy, he is not going to respond.
Okay.
So what we need to do then is move to second line chemotherapy.
Okay.
Continuing the same chemotherapy is not going to help at all. The tumor has already developed resistance, it is only going to grow. So move to
Okay.
second line chemotherapy and then decide for surgery. I have another question, sir. What if I tell that, okay, let's give radiotherapy, that may shrink the size a little and then you can go ahead with surgery. Will that be a good option?
Madam, for that radiotherapy in this tumor, it should be whole abdomen radiotherapy that will again a toxic to the, and there will be toxic to the baby, and the recurrence rate is more.
Okay. Even if you do
Yes, ma'am.
surgery, the child is
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
require whole abdomen irradiation only. Because the RT is given to the tumor bed, which is 15 centimeters, almost occupying the abdomen. Anyway, he is going to get RT.
Okay.
Yes.
So why not just give RT first and then go ahead with surgery?
Will it render the surgery more difficult?
It will cause the plasticity of the abdomen. The plane of the swelling will lost for it. So the resection will be very difficult post radiotherapy.
Okay, maybe the point
Yes,
I was trying to bring out is what is the principle of radiation therapy in a tumor which is surgically resectable? RT is, see, both surgery and RT are forms of local therapy. Surgery will knock off the mass, while RT manages the microscopic metastatic or gross residual disease which is left over. RT is only a mop-up tool. It is not a
Yes,
tool
ma'am.
meant to ease surgical procedures. So
Yes,
there is
ma'am.
no, if you're not knocking off the whole abdomen, if you're just giving RT, then RT will be the final therapeutic modality. You will not go do surgery after RT. RT is meant only to mop up or clear whatever residual tumor is there in a certain position. It's a
Extremely well.
mop-up tool. It's a mop-up tool. That is something we need to remember.
Extremely well put. Extremely well put. Thank you. And my question to Jyoti is
Yes,
many
sir.
times, for example, you say you have finished a first round of chemotherapy, then the second round of chemotherapy, second second line of chemotherapy. Still, the
Yes,
mass
sir.
is there, which is not excisable. Is there a role for debulking?
No, sir. In RMS, there is no role of debulking
No,
surgery because they
I don't.
have.
But what to do in such cases? Because if there's still a residual mass not really accessible completely.
Okay, there is a study on a certain role of debulking. There are certain set of children who have been debulked and then given RT. Another group of children who have directly been given RT without any debulking procedure. The final outcomes
Okay.
of both these limbs were the same.
Okay.
There is no evidence for debulking in a child with RMS.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think we have much more questions. Dr. Jyoti, your input has been extremely good. I don't know how much to thank you. Very
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for involving me in this.
Lovely having you. We'll continue to have you. Don't worry.
Thank you, sir.
A special thanks to you for joining us, sir, every day religiously. Thank you very much. And Naseema, thank you very much for putting up this. If this works well, we'll continue to this. I'll also try out with Microsoft Teams next week, and we'll see. For the timing, I think we'll switch over to this. There's a little audio lag, otherwise this is all right, I guess. Deepak,
Yes, sir. It's fine.
any suggestions or questions or any roundup for you?
Nothing, sir.
So Naseema will switch over to this for the time being instead of Zoom, and we'll see how it works. Okay. Next
So
time yeah.
just before I leave, sir, I just wanted to know what percentage of pediatric surgical practice will be occupied by pediatric oncology?
It depends from center to center, Jyoti. Because our center, because we are attached to Kidwai, we get much more. For example, BMC, the load is not very much. Symptoms is okay. So it depends on how good the backup is. This will be okay because we have got a good oncology department.
Okay. For you, it's 25%, sir, Indira Gandhi?
10%, I would say.
10%. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.